Hey Vivek, good to see you. Thanks for coming down
Thanks a
for
lot. Thanks a
this
lot.
video podcast. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to be talking to you. However, the very reason why we just started this initiative of probably learning more about uh, you know the practitioners, right? More from people who are actually running, the tech first companies,
hmm
and learning a little bit more about their challenges, or and probably the way they are mitigating those challenges,
hmm
right? In terms of when you're running a tech first company, right? And especially say in a category like yours, a pure play B2C, right? Would always be, I would be always be we as a company, right? That's what we are trying to focus on, right? And hence it's become all the more exciting for us. So would love to know a little bit about your story. Let's begin with that, right? That's what our audience would probably be excited about, right? To learn more a little bit about Purple, a little bit about yourself, and then we, let's keep going from that point, right?
Cool.
So yeah, let's
Cool.
let's start rolling.
First of all, thanks, Janine. It's great to be here. So I'm Vivek Pariyar, Head of Engineering at Purple. Predominantly, I lead the whole technology innovation, led the practice for AI and data, and as well as the infrastructure scalability, right? And some part of infosec and security, right? Prior to this, work with various OTAs in e-commerce of the world. I a couple of startup on my own in my early days of my college, sold them based out of US, came back to India. So yeah, now things are pretty much working in Purple from past 3 years, right? And to be very frank, it's a great journey because I joined Purple at the time of a pandemic, right? And the challenges are very different because we are getting a tremendous growth at a time, and we have been scaling left and right, right? So that's a till now it's a great journey because from day I joined now till now, we already at 10x, right? In terms of
Wow.
everything, right? Be it your the MAO, be it your GMV, be it your the funding, right? Just
Okay.
talk it. We are already in 10x, right? So let me first also give you a glimpse what Purple is, right? So the Purple mission is to democratize the beauty, right? And to make beauty accessible, affordable, and available to each and every Indian customer, right? While with this mission, what we figured out, there is a huge gap where for the real users of Bharat, right? The tier two and tier three cities, and mostly with the women's, right? Women of all these tier two, tier three cities, they are underserved with a high quality product. So that we take it as a challenge. We want to make sure that all these tier two, tier three cities where the masses of Bharat live, right, and make them available with the right product, which is high quality in the beauty, and so they can also feel powerful, feel can they can also feel the beauty, can try all these beauty products, right? So that's where the whole vision and mission is are, and we always think, okay, we are going to solve each and all these problems using technology, right? So that's the reason we are tech first, right? And whenever there is we talked about innovation, we always do innovation both like tech and product, right? Keeping data and AI as a centric approach, right? So everything or anything we do either needs to be done by the data with the AI in terms of here and there, right? So that's a analogy that we have right now. And if we talk about the key three pillars that we have to really move forward in any direction, right? So we have so there's one is like AI and personalization, like whatever you do and where you want to do, right? You just make sure that things are personalized to the user level. That means we are hyper personalized, right? And how we get all this information, we try to capture all the data points from the consumer, right? So let's say you are coming to the platform, right? To purchase, we definitely try to create a B2 dictionary for you. It's capture each and every information about you, like what is the skin type, your what is the hair, what are concern that you might be have, right? So we try to capture all these data points and create a beauty dictionary for you, right? From these data points, we already know what this particular consumer have the concerns about, and from there we started doing the personalization, right? And the next part is like we also focus the second pillar for us is we want to localize and make our discovery very intuitive, right? So when we talked about localize, even till today, what are the social media campaign that we made, right? It's always keep in mind that we keep a tap of the regional taste as well as uh, the perception that the regional people coming from, right? So with what happened then, we are able to target the right audience, right? Because it is in regional language for them itself, and then also the people whom we are building all these content, right? They also can connect to it, right? Because they can resonate in their own language. So that's the reason localization and become very important for
Personalization.
us, and personalization become very important. And once you come from a journey, right? Once you enter into my platform, it could be mobile app, or your website or anything, right? We want to give you the same experience, right? So that's where we also do the one act for the application. You can discover, you can browse the application in your own language, right? And complete a purchase history, purchase journey. And even if you want to discover more using search, you can do it in your own language, right? So that is also powered with our Gen AI capabilities. So you just talk about everything there. The last pillar is omni-channel experience, be it coming from the online or offline. If you're coming to my store, the experience seamless, faster checkout, reliability, and we don't leave you once you done with your purchase journey, right? We also help you once you purchase something. We give you, okay, you purchase this particular product, why don't you just watch this particular video? This That video talked about like how you can apply this particular product, right? Because beauty is a segment you definitely want to first try it by yourself, and second you want to get it demonstrated by somebody and how it can be used, right? So that's
Sure.
where it is a very look and feel. So these are the very three key pillars how we are definitely look our brand, how we definitely want to see the beauty in India, right? For the larger part of the Bharat.
I'll take a step back here,
Yeah.
right? So, when you said, okay, we are scaling in every dimension of
Yeah.
your business, what it means when it comes to, say, say scaling in terms of tech,
Hmm.
right? There are two sides of your business, if I
Correct.
understand this correctly. One is like, where from your website you are actually generating the demand, and there are like, there are orders that needs to be fulfilled, right? So there's one side is like you are generating the demand, and second side is you are actually doing the fulfillment of all the deliveries and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So let's talk about scaling on both of these segments, and what does it really mean, like, and like, what at what scale probably you were 3 years earlier, what scale, how rapidly are you growing as a business, if at all, like, you can share some light on
So
that.
if I talk about like we used to have like 3 years down the line, right? We usually have like we already touching like 10.5 million monthly active users, right? So it's like 3x what we used to be. Precisely, if we talk about in at the higher sale period time, it also goes to the 4 to 5x, right? So so that's the scale, that's the jump of number of users, and same for my orders. Orders went to 10x. Let's
So around 50 million is your monthly
So
active.
right now we have a 10 million monthly
10
active users. You
million,
can say
and
this
during
is
sale time around 40 to 50 million is probably
it
where,
is
like,
you
we
can
go
say
around.
half a million more, right?
Okay,
Right.
understood.
So, but what is very important, like it also bring a lot more all these variability when the sale come. So you need to increase you need to increase your system's capacity, which can definitely take all these sales number, right? Because let's say today I'm doing like say 50,000 orders on a day and day out basis, right? On a sale day, it become easily 90,000 to 1 lakh orders
Wow.
per day, right? So that's become a 2x in those days, right?
Understood.
So
So from a 50,000 orders a day that you are basically catering to across pan
yeah,
India tier 2, tier 3 cities combined,
yeah,
you are saying that, during the sale season, you are
it's
absolutely
become
like, you are doing
2x.
double
Yeah, yeah.
the, yes. And
So
you run these sale seasons at least once a year, if
no,
I'm,
no, it's twice in a year. So we
or
have two
twice a
big
year.
sales, right?
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
every quarter we have one sale,
Okay.
but and across the year we have two big sales. One is a Diwali, and the second one is which is about to come in February.
Okay.
Which is a Valentine, everything, right? So
Oh,
that is one of
nice.
the biggest sales.
Okay.
We
So
call it,
that's your seasonality of
yeah,
your business.
that is our seasonality of it, and it works well, and believe me,
Okay.
right? And with this, what happened, right? So there is one part of it, right? We are seeing like your consumer seeing you, the consumer experience is intact, right? But the same thing needs to be done in the backend side of it, right? And what is backend side of the world, right? Which people don't know about it. Where my actual people who are making sure you're getting a delivery in the right time, the right product you are reaching. So these are my warehouses, right? And people are
Correct.
operating from there, right? So from So we also spend a lot more time building a lot more all these applications from where they can also operate in a very faster manner, right? So you
You
cannot
mean to say
definitely
your operational team?
operational teams, yeah. So these
Right.
ops teams are very important because
Right.
they in I give you a very small example, like what happened in a sale time, right? Usually in a day we have like 30 to 40,000 of pricing updates operations, right? Where
Okay.
we update or somebody do something, right? But in sale time, it can also reach to 300,000,
Wow.
right? So that means somebody is doing this, right? So that is my pricing team is doing day in day out.
Okay.
So they are running all these offers, they are updating all these pricing, they are running what is the discounting, right? So that means we need to be very tactical.
Maybe like just how many SKUs would are we talking about in
So
general?
we cater 1,000 brands, 1,000 plus brands, and 60,000 products.
Okay.
60,000 which we have on a platform, right? Out of in this, we also have our own personal brands, right? Private
Okay.
labels that you talk about. But this is a total quantum. But 60,000 brand doesn't just mean that it is going to be as simple as that, because every product have a different SKU, let's say in color, right? And that might have a different with their
Correct.
the grammage, you can say the quantity.
Sure.
They have a different pricing altogether. So the
Sure.
complexity increase in that perspective, right? So that
Sure.
means so for each and every product, we might be having like 10 to 15 pricing on the basis of SKU, the quantity,
And
and
plus,
everything.
you might also have like the variability of offers at time and
Yeah,
again that you might be like introducing in the market depending on the market dynamics and stuff like that.
correct, correct. So this these are the application which is the promo and an offer is very important for the consumer specific, because that's where my business team can play around it, right?
Right.
What they want to run some an offer, let's say 2+1, right? Or 2+2. Now tomorrow they want like I want to do like 3+2,
Right.
right? You get buy 3 get 2 free, right?
Correct.
So it could be any combination, right? So in mathematical terms, if you talk about it's buy n get n free or get x
Understood.
free, right? Something like that. But to really build all these things in the system is pretty much very complex, because that's required a huge amount of processing power, because it's just not you just open the coupon, right? Or open the offer, right? You definitely want to see, okay, it's for these many SKUs only I want to open this particular offer, right? So there is always a guardrail. There always a validation in place, right? How these particular offers or coupons can be rolled out, and who can apply it at what frequency.
And
So
I'm assuming there must also be some sort of a maker checker sort of a
yeah.
process in
That's
the
how it is.
whole.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do have in the pricing itself, in the coupon itself, everywhere there's a maker and checker.
Okay.
There, right. So somebody built it, somebody check it, and once the approval in the workflow itself, somebody approve it, then only these things get.
So promo and pricing is still working on the other side of the table, wherein like it is helping customer discover the product at the right price.
Yeah. Right.
And then there is an order which comes into your system, and then the fulfillment journey starts.
Journey starts.
So again, there will be like a bunch of other additional tools that probably
Yeah.
like you might need to fulfill that delivery. How many? What are the like maybe if there is just to for us to understand the quantum and the scale of your operations, right? And when you say tier 2, tier 3 cities, how many warehouses? What is the right way to look at it? Like when you are saying say 50,000 orders a day, for example, is that a right way to look at the scale of operations, or we are talking about like say hundreds of warehouses pan India?
So what happened? All these things depend like from how many locations you're getting all these orders, because orders predominantly
Pin
cannot
codes
be
maybe?
pin code maybe, because from the where the warehouse is located, right? It not necessary that we are going to fulfill all this particular a product from this particular warehouse, right?
Right.
So let's say you are sitting in Mumbai, right? And I'm just taking hypothetical example, right? We do have one let's say warehouse in Mumbai, another in Pune, hypothetical. So you ordered something. I said, okay, you can just take an order, and somehow this particular product is not available in Mumbai warehouse, right? But I can definitely get it done, get it delivered from the Pune itself. So
Right.
that order will come to my Mumbai warehouse, and from there get fulfilled for you. It might be the ETA might got increased. Let's say I might be doing the same delivery, now it's going to be next day delivery, right? But that's how the complexity increase, right? So your product is sitting somewhere, right? Now you want to make sure that it is available for your consumer. But do you really want to fulfill it from the Pune warehouse or not? That's the business call,
Correct.
right? So these are all the conversation that happen in the back end, and these off processes where they keep conflict, right? okay, I don't want to configure this particular the route itself. I want to disable this route. I want to disable this location for itself to really deliverability, because let's say there's the flood in some area, right?
Right.
So we need to stop taking all these orders, right? So what happened? The ops team just goes back and just disable all the warehouse operation for that. With that, what happened? We stop taking order for that particular place, right? So these are flexibility we already give to the backend team, maybe ops team, right?
Wow.
Which
So
for
giving tools to your ops teams, like to run this is one major part of the things that you all
yeah,
deliver
yes, yes, yes.
to make sure the fulfillment part of the journey and even this part of the journey, like say pricing and promo,
Correct.
etc. They are also become a part of your tech stack that needs to be
So basically,
maintained
if
and
you
that needs to
think
be
you want to build something for a consumer, right? From there they can consume something,
right.
but somebody need to maintain it.
Correct.
Somebody to give you a juice. Okay, this is how you're gonna look your promo. This is how you're gonna take like this is how I'm gonna deliver orders, right? This is this particular courier partner is going to take your order, right, and deliver to you to your doorstep, right? So that all these things need to be done via some backend team, and they have all the different panels.
And how dynamically they are changing, like with time, is the complexity of these tools increasing?
Yeah.
And every day we like are the business operations people coming to you and asking for you, hey Vivek, can we have these XYZ new additional features in your tool, or how does it work?
So see, that's the everyday job, right? So
Okay.
business team keep coming, okay, and they are not wrong in there, because the business is dynamic.
Correct.
And we are in growth phase. We don't know what is going to work in the industry, right? So today, what happened? We just launched a stores,
Mm-hmm.
and how we are serving to the stores. It is not. We might like when we started our first store. At that time, we have a third-party POS system,
Okay.
which don't have any relation to my tech stack, to my inventory and everything, right? Now we just replace it with our own POS system.
Oh,
Now you're understanding like that is the live inventory. I know what particular product is already in my store and what I need to replenish.
I see.
So that's a real time. But to really do this, somebody need that panel.
Right.
To really get the billing done, somebody to need that particular panel as a POS system. And after the billing being done, in the evening, reconciliation going to happen.
Right.
So you need that panel for that, right?
Correct.
Somebody sitting at the HO want to see what is happening in my stores. This okay, Vivek, I want to do some more. I want to add more SKUs for this particular stores. Just sitting here, not at the store time. So again, you need one more extra addition to that particular panel, right? So these small things keep coming. These are nitty-gritties. It's always there, and there's always ask from the business. Okay, can you add this? Can you just remove this? Can you change it? Because what happened, my team is not able to really accustomed to the way this particular dashboard is looking, right? Can we make it more intuitive, right? So, and you end up doing it because it's a very diverse people who are utilizing your application, right? Some people are very pro.
Okay.
Some people are on a daily contract basis. Now think how that person contract basis your regular employee, they are very different people, right? So you make this person understand in a 15-minute versus this person might have the knowledge of like years or 6 months
To operate that panel.
Oh, yeah, operate the plan, right? So that's where they keep coming back to, okay, can you make this simple, more
user
simpler?
experience you
User
want to
experience,
so,
right?
so subtle changes,
It's
all the way
keep
from
coming.
subtle changes to what the business really
Right.
needs. You have a full, like right from A to Z, you have the full thing that you probably will come to you.
And the just very small example, let's say the one problem statement given to us, okay, design this particular panel for my team where they can do so and so, right? It came back to us as a product and tech team. We started building it. Okay, we build it. And we thought it needs to be done in 3 step. It went to the warehouse team. They say, okay, dude, why I need to do all these 3 steps? Can you just merge into 1 step? They started using it. After the 1 month rollout, that's one smart chap come. So what is happening, Vivek? Because of these 3 steps, we are spending 2 minutes more to really complete this operation. If you save my 2 minutes in a whole day, I can save across the warehouse, let's say 500 minutes, right? So it's a big thing in a warehouse.
Wow.
And that's how these changes keep coming. Okay, because we are not there. The real people who are using that particular platform is there, and we need to take that feedback.
What is the time it takes for such feedbacks to come to you, Vivek? Do you
take-
have like
So let's say you wrote something now.
right?
Either they outrightly rejected,
Okay.
we're not gonna use it. Then you try to forfeited. No, you need to use it. This is new. This is that, right? Then what happens? It's a midway, right? Okay, how do you want to see this particular platform or dashboard, which might work for you, right? So that's where the changes come to us, and that's where the developer also become very edgy. Okay, we did this. This is a fourth iteration you are doing. Why we are doing this? It's very small change. Can't they just live without this? So it's a very hustle that keep happening with the warehouse team versus the technology team, because both of them don't understand each other, right? And they're also right, because they are on the ground. They are doing this job day in day out. Where the tech team has been involved in so many places. They see this a very small nuance. Why can't you just live with it, right? So the two different world in two different silos, both of them are right. How do you make a choice, right? So that's where you need to become more nimble. You want to make sure things become very easy for you, right? So you want to spend a lot more in automation, where the touch point can be removed either from the a technology side or either from the ops team, right? So both of these folks are happy in their should be happy in their own environment.
That is a goal that probably you carry.
Yeah, it's everyday goal.
Okay. So how have you structured the team to, like, to basically, like, you really even have to hear what the ground operations team is even going through and what are they saying, maybe before delivery, how it needs to be developed, and post delivery, like, there's a whole huge cycle in every panel, it looks like. So how's the org structure from that
So
perspective?
whenever any a feature develop, right, or we are end up rolling out for the warehouse, it needs to be go to a thorough first planning, right? My product team work with business team to figure out, okay, what is the right way of doing it, what should be the right flows and everything. Then goes back to the tech team, that all these tech leaders work together with the product team. Okay, this is doable, this is not doable. This, if we do this in this manner, it become more effective, efficient, right? So then this feedback goes to the business team. Then if they take it well enough, if they want to make some changes, then product team come up with a final the requirement, which we call it as a PRD, product requirement document, and the tech team work together to really start developing, right?
Okay.
When the development done, the testing done, then handover started happening, right? That's where the actual challenge. You
That's
did
where the
it,
first feedback start
yeah.
coming.
So you did the testing. Now you want some of the folks to use this particular platform, right? The moment they saw it, okay, what's something new? Why I need to use it? My life is already easy. I am already doing my work. Why something new, right? So then the education is very important, right? Then we do a training session for these first few folks, because once they adopted it, then it become easy for to roll out for each and every users as well as across the warehouse, right?
Sure.
So this is a typical journey, and if it is not working for them, then we need to take the feedback, go back, make the changes, release the changes, again that cycle of testing, and then goes back to the training. So it's always take a cycle, right?
Wow.
So once they approve it, okay, they say, okay, things are really working fine. Then the real battle, the training part of it for across the warehouses, right? So it's a big game, because
Awesome.
because everybody should accustom, because we don't want my ops team wasting their time, the warehouse ops team wasting time in understanding how this particular internal tools work, right? So these internal tools needs to be very fast, very easy, and if there are changes needs to be required, this needs to be done very fast, because somebody's life is depending on it, right?
Sure.
So that's
And you would, like, what is the quantum of these, what's the scale of these tools today, like, that you're handling, and probably, like, it needs to be there so that, operations can cater to 50,000 orders a day, and it goes up to, say, 100,000, probably, like, maybe in peak seasons, or probably, like, you have your natural growth of new customers that you're acquiring, right, at, to keep pace with that.
right. So
So what I mean, like, what's the current
I think thanks a lot,
landscape?
definitely asking this question, because in tech talks as well, people definitely talk about, okay, I have huge amount of numbers which I'm catering to, right? I have 10 million MAU, I have 200 million MAU, 100 million MAU, right? And then somebody talk about, I have like hundreds of microservices, right? They're catering to like this 700,000 million requests at a time, right? But I think nobody really talks about how many internal panels that you have, right?
Correct.
So it's always in Hindi there is a kahat, Bhanumati ka pitara. The moment, so these tools you keep building, right? Internal tools, right? So there's the number which is already accounted,
Okay.
and there is huge number which is unaccounted, which you don't know even about it, right? So till today, we have approximately 500 to 600 accounted internal panels,
Wow.
right? Which across people's here and there using it. Unaccounted, I even don't know about it. It could be anywhere at any number, right? Because what happened if something deprecated? So as a technology, we never goes back and say, okay, this is deprecated. Now let's remove it. It's always stays there.
Sure.
It's a very huge amount of a tech debt
Sure.
and a problem for us. And we definitely look always a way to really how we can definitely solve it, right? So because there is no right way to really account that, right? What are these panels is already deprecated. No,
And
nobody
just to
is
give
using
you
it.
some sense to from an understanding perspective, right? I mean, I remember one of our conversation where we were saying something like even a pin code to be enabled. Like now you want to receive order from this particular thing, you have a panel for that.
Right.
And there can be like n number of such smaller use cases, and you might see like maybe like panels showing up for
So
very smaller use
So I
cases.
tell you, like, I will start you, like, give you some game, just like
Hmm.
the number of teams, right? So we have warehouse management team, we have logistic team, we have MDM team,
Okay.
right? We have pricing team, we have category team, right? So with these many teams, they have different n number of panels, different n number of panels which might be used to really update,
Hmm.
and then on top of it, we have CS team.
Okay.
They also use the internal tool, right, to understand what is happening with the
What is the CSD team?
customer support team,
Customer
CS
support
support
team.
team,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So my agents use that particular panel to really understand what is happening with my consumer order, right? And then only they can help my consumer with the resolution, right? So from logistic to the warehouse to pricing, category, MDM, everybody is using my internal tool, right? And if they don't have these tools, so let's say at one place they might be creating a new promo. At one place they might be seeing the list of the promos which is already running. They want to disable it. They want to enable it. They want to delete it, right? And at one place they want to see the report like how many coupons have been used already, right? So and the same thing for logistic, right? So somebody's using to really scan what are the product for this particular when the product come to the packing station, right? Somebody just keep scanning it and then put it in a box. That is a one panel, right? Somebody just keep looking to the panel and say, okay, this particular panel have 4 particular products. We need to pack it up, right? This is a consumer name, right? There's another panel to really understand like what are the pending orders, the number of orders, what are the already order which already went for the logistic, which logistic is going to take how many orders, right? So there's n number of panels that keep happening, right? The scanning is there, inwarding is there, outwarding is there, right? So
Returns.
returns, so everything, every action have one panel, right?
Wow. So it might look very simple to the consumer that they're just placing an order, but behind the scene, like
Yeah,
there are
it's
almost
huge, yeah.
an orchestration of almost 600 plus panels, probably like
Correct.
at work, and that that orchestra is actually at play to make your eventually a 50,000 deliveries to 100,000 deliveries a day,
Correct.
or fulfillment to a day. Oh wow, that's massive number, right?
Yeah.
And tell me one thing, right, Vivek? Just out of curiosity, I don't run an e-commerce company, but I'm very curious. If somebody who's looking to start an e-commerce company today, are they all going to be like looking at making these panels, or is there something off the shelf which is available, or where do you? Is there no SAP to this business?
So there is a SAP is there, right? But I think the very important aspect, we also took a very huge step there. We definitely don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? And technically, we always say, okay, which we need to solve just a business problem,
Sure.
which we are good at it, right? We understand the beauty business, we understand purple. We want to create all these a system which understand my business problem, right? Now, if somebody asks me, do you really want to create all these panel? I don't want to. Do you really want to handle all these panel? I don't want to, because who's going to handle them? Because maintenance is one of the biggest problem in across the industry, right?
Okay.
So you definitely want somebody who is expert in it, keep taking care of it. Be it your infra, right? Say you are using a database, MySQL database, Redis, or whatever data we talk about. Why you need to have all these systems handled by yourself? Let third party team which is already specialized in it, the enterprise solution, let them handle it. They will take care of things end to end, right? And we are expert in building a solution on top of all these things, right? And we keep doing it. Same for our panels as well, right? So we adopted a strategy. We go berserkly for no code or low code, right? That's
Sure.
where Dona also come into picture and
Sure.
playing a very vital role. And that's how we are. Whenever this problem statement come to us, we always look, okay, do we really need to do this? Is this our business problem is coming as a business problem? If not, what is the way we can either automate it, or what is the solution we can just, it's always a buy and build and buy, right? So why you end up building a new database? It's already there.
Sure.
Just
Sure.
ask that expert to implement for you, or that enterprise solution. They will handle scaling, they will handle reliability, they will handle your cleaning up and backups and everything, right? You just need to keep using it as per the usage that you have and the team might be
So
using it for.
Vivek, I have a very question, like simple question for you, right? When you touched upon maintenance as one huge problem statement, right? At scale of around 600 panels, right? How was it at that point in time? Like what does it really mean if somebody is really staring at, like because I mean it can it can sound like, okay, it's something like, okay, new changes are coming and somebody has to just go ahead and just add newer changes, or like take more business requests, put them into, patch it into your thing. But from an operational perspective, from a from a tactics perspective, right? You have your developers who are probably day in day out, they're probably like either working on maybe something which is more consumer facing, which is going to generate more revenue for you. Or would it be like they're already working on some of the other panels and now new request comes in? Who's going to do that work? Are you going to give this to new engineers, or go back to the same engineers who are going to do it? Why don't you tell us a little bit about, like how would those mechanics come at play?
See, so there's a two sides of the story, right? One part is definitely that how the changes we are going to look into it, and if you want to acquaint any new changes, what we're going to do with them, right? So let's say out of 500 panels, some 10, 15 odd folks from the business team come. They want to make some changes. That's in 20 panels, right? You have only one guy. And to really make that change, it might take, let's say in past, it might take a 2 to 3 days to first develop it, test it, and roll it out, right? 3 to 4 days, then 5 days, then a week's time, right? So understand it become the pipeline. That 20th change might take what after 20th week, right? So that's what create a backlog for us, a huge backlog, right? And this is just a tip of the iceberg, right? So we have a different team. We are, the WMS have a different tech leader, logistics have a different tech leader, pricing have a different tech leader. Everybody have a different tech stack. Now somebody is building on a React, somebody is building on, let's say, Angular, somebody is using a PHP itself, right? So now, if you want to consolidate the change, right, how is it going to happen, right? So change is always a painful, right? And you need to really make sure that how do you democratize the whole solution in such a way it become a single platform. So no multiple people are building in multiple places, right? So in my days, right, when 15 years, 16 years, so there's a very beautiful system coming to picture for the UI that is on a Twitter Bootstrap,
Okay.
right? It's a very well-known UI library that came into picture. You just use it and you can build a beautiful website just using that span or some IDs and everything. Then everything has been taken by the CS itself. Now those days are already gone, but still it's very popular now, right? So that's always the focus, right? Why you cannot just use some platform which is already there, which can make you set the standard, right? This is the way we are gonna operate. I need to make sure that I keep building all these endpoints which have a middleware, and let's the UI part to really do some magic, and somebody a third party system which can integrate with me and can take out all this load from me, right? That's where the beauty come into picture. Which which reliability, which scalability needs to be there, right? Now the bigger pain is to upgrade also all the system. Let's say I want to change the React version to another version. It's deprecated. Who's going to do that? So after 20th week, the 21st week somebody is going to
And
do
given
that.
you're already so spread out, thin
Yes, yes.
spread in terms of like, some panels are in Angular, some
Right,
are
right.
in React, and you don't,
You
there is
never
no,
know what is going to work for you.
correct.
So it's
Correct. So
become
you
very
cannot even pick changes from one and you can universally apply
correct,
to
correct. It's not
20 different systems, or probably like, one
because
time effort you spend and
there is no
it
set
solves
standard,
for
right?
all your panels. That's also not really happening.
Right.
And so this is what we are looking at it in terms of like, if you don't have a strategy for doing your say internal tools, which are 600 systems, I'm sure like, equally complex would be your front end delivery or front end system for customer facing applications, right? I'm assuming they would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
as complex, right? But this also is equally complex, if
It
not
is, it
less.
is, it is, it is. And most of the time they always given a backseat
But
because
in a business like
it is
yours, right?
it is very important.
Is it fair to say that they're going to be backseat
Yeah.
because
Okay. Because what happened?
if there
Okay.
is no delivery, there is no fulfillment, right?
Somebody came. Okay, this is taking 2 steps, converting to 1 step. Okay, yeah, चल रहा है ना, काम चल रहा है, चला ले. So, but in actually, if you see, it definitely hampering somebody's work, right? So we need to always on toes how we can definitely make everybody's life easy, right? Technology is a function who enable people, everybody, right?
Sure.
We always look in that manner, and we definitely want to enable everybody, right? And with the tech folks, the bigger problem is they want to reinvent everything. उनको सब कुछ अपने आप से करना है. मैं ही बनाऊंगा. I want to build a rocket. I want to build a database. Why I want to build, right? Focus on what is important for us, right? So that's where you need to draw the line. And that's what my Indian leaders also try to keep doing it. How we can definitely make a community for all the system and make a set pattern, right? For this, you're going to use this. For this, you're going to use this. So there's a set steps what you need to follow.
So Vivek, is it fair to say that in the terms of standardization, you are saying that you add a layer which gives you that one stable layer on which you then start building.
Correct,
So you're not
correct.
saying you don't build it yourself, but you're saying you build it, but you use some stack which becomes like part of your core stack. And on top of it, when you start building, it gives you that stable
Flexibility,
platform.
stability, yeah.
Yes, and then it also helps you reduce your overall maintenance, which probably like arises something from say only as simple as doing a React upgrade, which is not even adding any business
Add any business
value,
value.
right?
So-
I don't know. It
so-
might be necessary, right, for you
So
to
we are
do it.
waiting our PHP upgrade for good of time. I'm not going to tell for how much time, but for very good enough time because of some security reason, right? And and why it does not happen? Because it's not important for the business, right? It might not important for me, right? It is working, na? Let it running.
So
But-
somebody takes a business risk in terms of
Yeah.
like you accept the business risk and you move on with life.
But it always in your back of mind, this is not right? So that's where when we talk about right, which is not your forte, you should figure out who can do best for you, right? You don't need to reinvent the whole wheel. So just bring the expert system in place and let them handle the complexity for you. And what you're good at, just keep building on top of it, right? So what you said is very right? We just build a layer. We build all the complexity business logic there, what all the system might need, right? A juice to really operate on top of it, right? And we just put our no-code platform there, which is helping us to really make, let's say you want to change from drop-down to multi-select, it's a click away, right? So nobody's going to do all these like a coding, like writing all the HTML code and everything inside the JavaScript. It is happening in the background. System is there. Let them do it, right? And then what happens? You don't end up having like, okay, WMS team is saying I need a front end developer. Then somebody saying I need a front end developer. Now you just need a one no code developer. You have a requirement, just give it to us. We get it done. So there is a central team who take all this requests and just build on top of it, right? It becomes very fast to really operate and roll out something, right? And rollback also become very easy for, right? So nahi kaam kar raha, hata do. So these flexibility become very important, right? And for any business, right, reliability and resilience is very important. Okay, and how much flexible you are, right? So that's where a technology cannot be a work in a very brittle manner, right? So need to be very flexible, right? I might told you, okay, this is what I need as a feature, but day after tomorrow they come, okay, this is not working. Can you just make changes? You cannot say no to them, right? Because that they are depending on you, and
Sure.
that's how the business works, right? And all these ops panel is very important for us.
So today, probably like moment you have made a move to Drona HQ low
Hmm.
code platform, I do you see a difference in the way probably like now the velocity by any chance has changed from what it was to cater to those business changes that probably come your way and your ability to probably even address them. And if there is a difference, what kind of a delta you see?
So I start from a very different manner, right? So let's say today one request come to us, okay, can you just make some change? Ask your team to make some changes in the panel, right? So the first thing come into my mind is, right, is it panel on a React or Angular or PHP? Which developer I need to deploy there?
So then accordingly you will need to find an engineer in your team who
Engineer.
can really work on it. Right.
So now it is not, right? We have a central team who is accustomed to this no code platform. They know the what is a set way to really do X and Y things, right? Just drag and drop. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. And it is not going to work, they can just debug it and raise the request. Within an hour or so, it will be solved by the support team and you're good to go, right? So it's that simple, right? So you can create a very healthy backlog,
Sure.
not a Panchvarshi Yojana.
So what I'm basically hearing is like there's a little bit of org structure change.
Yes.
Earlier you did not have a different team only for panels because like different say WMS team or the
Every leader
MDM
have a
team.
different team, yeah.
Every team will have its own panel
Correct.
being made depending on like whatever that was required.
Right.
Now we have moved everything into like all panels will go to a central team and the other teams are only going to provide you the microservices which are required to run
Yes.
them.
So the moment, let's say any requirement come to us, okay, they say, okay, I want to also add a drop down for all the warehouses that we serve, right? So the simple ask from that particular team is just provide me the API for the list of the warehouses. The moment you are ready with it, come with your API and a stub, we will get the feature done for you. As that simple, no question asked, right? So they also give you the prerequisite what is required to get this feature done, right? So now they can move to another feature as well. They're not waiting for them. Okay, once they complete it, then only start working. They can start working on some different feature. So with this become a very healthy backlog. We keep churning out all the requests that keep coming to us, right? And also, when we say 500 panels, right? We also migrating them to the no code platform, right? How we did it, it's a story, right? It's a great story that I think my engineering leader can definitely talk about it. How we played a very vital role and the change our thought process, how we think, how we look all these problem statement, how we can definitely adopt a no low code in such a way it become a very dynamic tool for us, right? And flexible and scalable enough, right? So that's where I think it's very important. You need to sit down, keep your mind straight. How can you definitely offload all these work which is not important for you via some a low code or no code tool, right? This is very very important step that we took, and it took us time because bringing see telling out, okay, just implement no code or low code is very easy, right? But figuring out the right strategy is something very important. We took approximately 3 to 4 months just doing nothing. We started adopting. We say how to move it. Nobody knows about it, and we miserably failed there, right? We built some 1 or 2 panels here and there, and okay, yeah, it works. Then what? There are what 600 panel. It is not gonna work. There's so many things you keep hearing from the developers as well, product team as well. We have there are so many other work that we want to do. Why I need to prioritize this, right? Because it's it's a journey, right? You need to take,
Right.
right? So then you need to come up with a strategy, a right strategy, how the adoption plan is going to look like. How do you really architect your system to really adopt this particular change? So let's say the one low-code tool is working today. It means okay, I want to replace something else, right? So now your strategy is replace it, plug and play, because you think through it. You design a system in such a way it's become plug and play for you. It
Sure.
could be half of this, half of that, and the goodness of both of the world, right? But you need to make sure that you have a very reliable backend API system available, which can definitely expose to all the system which they can consume, right? And and on top of it, it also help you to really secure your all this panel. Then the access become very easy for you. Then you can also figure out how many panels already there. Today, I might not know how many panels there, but at least from the low code tool, because we're paying them, they can give you a list. Okay, these are the due,
Here are
these
the
are the panels that you
panels.
have, right? Do something about it, else pay the money. the,
So what I was also curious about,
yeah.
like when you said like say 600 already operating panels were there. So now from a strategy perspective, like, or probably to the new people, I mean, like people who are trying to say, okay, we are also in a similar boat as you, Vivek. What should be the right strategy? Should we start lifting and shifting our current panels into the low code, or how should we really even go about it, right? Because how did you go about it? What was your journey on this? And today, how many panels are even live?
Yeah. So basically, like the very important aspect is like to really understand the create a right strategy there, right? To really look, do you really need all these panel, right? So there's a very huge amount of exercise that my team did, product and leaders, tech leaders, commonly did. What are the panel that we are not using at all, right? And while going to change this panel or migrate to the panel to the new system, right? Do we really need all these features that we all the fields that you're talking about on that new system or not, right? So they can relook the whole strategy, right? So they prepare the whole a list of things that might need it, might not need it, good to have, bad to have, or all the set of list that we can get, right? From there, is it required, not required? Is it important or not important, right? From all these things,
So
you
you
can say
created a framework of
framework around it, right?
some sort
So you
to
can
take a
say
decision
this
whether
is
you
right.
this needs to, but at large, you started migrating these apps.
Yes. And then on top of it, very important thing that engineering team did, they figured out the architecture of the system, how it's going to talk to all these, talk to the drone HQ, right? So that is where the
So,
game changer for us.
and Vivek, so for the new people who are going to start their day one journey, right?
Mhm.
You made mistakes. What are top 2 or 3 things that you would tell somebody who's going to start afresh, right? This is the focus on these 2 or 3
I
things.
think one of the very important aspect is just don't start migrating your panel from a day one, right? Look from a very broader lens, right? How you want to definitely organize your APIs, how you definitely want to organize your these panels, right? In such a way they can interact to each other, right? So because you need a middleware where this particular middleware can talk to the no code platform as
Sure.
well as your system to provide them the right information, right? Because this is where the majority of the time we fail, right? What happened the moment you say, okay, I want to build this for the either no code system, you say, okay, just take a database access. Some team, okay, I cannot give you a database access for so and so reason. Why don't you, okay, I might need to really create a new API, right? Do you really need to create a new API or not? So that this is a strategy, this is architecture you need to build, right? Can you build a middleware in between which can definitely help to really talk mediate the talk between the your no code as well as your system,
Sure.
and that become the game changer for you.
So you're saying essentially you break it down into 2 steps. Step one, get your entire your middleware up and
Yes,
running,
right.
or the team which can basically facilitate that that sort of a middleware for whatever panels that you need. And then step two, start migrating your
Yes,
applications or your start migrating your panels onto a low code platform
correct.
so that it can become more
More.
nimbler, more flexible, whatever are the benefits of it,
So
right? Essentially.
one of a very important terminology that when we started thinking how should be done, how should be done, right? We took a lot more already design decision from the headless CMS, right? And we call it the headless APIs. We end up calling it headless API, which talk to my no code tool, right? We definitely want to empower that particular tool, and it should be talking to my middleware, and from there all these APIs being exposed, right? And from there my team is figuring out, okay, what are the first 100 panel which we need to migrate, right? So 60 is already done, right? Now next 100 is in this plan, and the very important aspect is the deployment to testing is very easy for us, then, right? So nobody, so what? So let's say something went wrong, right? Something is not working for you. So in actuality, what happened, right? You first build a Angular, make some changes in Angular system, right? Then make the build again, deploy a test it, and then deploy it to the production. It might not work, right? But here it's not there, right? Okay, this is not working. Make some change in the API or say make some change in the UI element. You're good to go. So that become very easy for us to really how the handshake is happening, the handshake is right or not, and from there we take it up.
Wow. Excellent. So, it's always inspiring to you're what's kind of it's not the tool. It's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you do with the practice around
Practice,
it.
right.
That is something that makes it's a make or break of the story, right? So this
It's
is
always about adoption. It's all like how you want to adopt it. You cannot just blindly start consuming it, right? There's
correct.
always like you got all these vegetable, right? You cannot start eating raw. अब
Correct.
सब कच्ची तो खा नहीं जाओगे, right? So you need to okay, you need to think like what is the recipe behind it, right?
Sure.
कौन सी सब्जी बनने वाली है? दम आलू बनने वाला है या
You need
सिंपल
to
आलू
think
बनने
the
वाला है?
end in
Things
mind.
like that, yeah.
You need to think like a true engineer. How
Yeah,
you're going to
right,
break it
definitely.
down into
Correct.
different things to make it work.
It's
No,
it's
no,
a
this
recipe
is
for it, yeah.
absolutely. So in fact, now I see if I'm just going to put things together, right? There are three things that essentially you did. You reorganized your your teams.
Yes.
Yeah, you essentially created a new entirely like one centralized team to do panels.
A very small.
A very okay, very
That is
small.
very important. Very small team.
And how many panels do we have then you have to manage? If there's small team, then how many panels
We
are
have
you
only two
managing?
folks right now in that team.
Two folks managing almost
500 cigarette.
wow, okay, that's awesome.
So that's a very important crux, right? So the ROI already is there, right? Out
Sure.
of like 30 people or 20 people might be building these tools or managing them. They're just two folks, right?
So you're saying right from 20 people earlier in the earlier days, probably we were doing managing 500 odd panels.
Correct.
Now we're down to two people, and we are still able to do
Correct.
better velocity.
Better velocity.
Oh wow,
Which is
that's a
it's
big
very
win,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, right.
That's a big win.
So with the huge panel companies, right? I already know some of the very good companies, right? So they have like 50, 70 folks to just manage all these panels, right?
Wow.
So I don't know what they keep doing. So they got a request: make a change in a text box, and that what the change is. With the moment somebody open the panel in that text box, the default value is this.
Okay.
This is a change they need to deploy it. That's what the job of that particular dude in a day.
Oh man.
So I just saw that people as well in the industry, right? So
and that change took a day
like
to hit the production.
I don't know, like it might take a week for them as well because like what the so I don't
Okay.
know, right? So luckily we are not that, but yeah, it always because we as a growth state startup, right? You want to be very nimble, right? You want to do
Right.
something very fast. You cannot wait for a like I'm telling you, like 20th week you might get a chance to really get your job
Wow.
done. So you don't want that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, this is so insightful, Vivek. I would like to this is absolutely insightful. Just maybe one last question. I thought why don't you tell like a little bit about when you're not working? I don't know if there is a time when you're not working, but let's hear you out, right? If you're not working, what are you doing? So are you you once upon a time were a hands-on engineer, not anymore, I'm assuming, right?
No, I'm till now.
Oh, you still are?
I just released one feature which is already live on my application,
Okay.
and thanks to the AI.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a very big believer on the AI and the tools itself, right? Who can enable to do more.
Okay.
So it's not about like who is going to replace what, right? And it's never like that, right? It's always like how it can become more productive, right? And the
Sure.
same for the no-code tool as well.
Sure.
It's for me, it's more towards like how I can make my team more productive,
Sure.
and they can do a good work instead of like what changing a textbook color. Is this a thing that you want as an engineer? No, right? So for till me today, like I always like to code something, right? And at least I figure out like 15, 20 minutes a day. And if after that I got some time, I like to play a game as well.
Okay, that's great. And
yeah.
one last final comment on what do you see the the world as the future with low code plus AI, or how do you see that? Like you said you also you're a big proponent of low code as well as AI. How do the two
I
mash
think
up together
after
in your view?
all these the AI tools that have been using to the coding and everything, right? I definitely would love to see the no code tool also start adopting it. Okay, can you make a change for this particular text box? Can you make a panel with so and so field with this particular data? I just write it down, and data might come from directly product team, right? As a product requirement with the detailing of each and everything. What
Would
I
love
want.
to surprise you, Vivek. Something of this sort is absolutely
Oh,
coming,
nice.
man.
I think my product team is gonna like
We
they
just
are.
had our third AI engineer
Oh,
onboarded onto our team, like and from a very very good background. So he's already they are already working as a team to
do let us know. We
deliver a
definitely
lot of
love
these
to be
things.
a guinea pig for it.
Oh, absolutely, man. I know. So this is awesome. But thank you
Sure,
so much, Vivek, and for sharing your story.
sure.
This is absolutely exciting,
Thank you.
and yes, absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so much.
Thank you.